Aunt Cadence, it's very pretty here in the Crystal Empire. Thank you for inviting me. He gave her a big, warm smile. She smiled warmly back at him. You're very welcome, precious. I'm glad you like it here. I promise you will enjoy the castle.
Show him the gymnasium. I want to play some badminton. She gave him a wink as they slowly approached the castle where Shining Armor was standing on the steps. Cadence carefully lowered to the ground. Oh my. Oh, that's Shining Armor talking. Hello, everypony. Welcome back to the Crystal Empire. He bowed his head at the guest. He looked up to see Toby riding on Cadence's back, giving a soft smirk. There's our first curse word. Okay. Well, hell there, big guy. How's my cool little nephew doing? He trotted up beside Cadence and reached a hoof up to rub at the child's head. Toby giggled happily, giving his uncle a big smile.
I'm doing good, Uncle Shining. I missed you, and why'd you just curse at me?
He reached to give him a big hug around his neck while still on Cadence's back. Shining smiled warmly at the gesture, reaching a foreleg up to hug Toby's back. Aw, I missed you too, big guy. They gently broke the hug, and Shining looked at him in the eyes. How would you like to take a tour of the Crystal Palace, Toby? Toby nodded excitedly.
Yes, Uncle Shining. That sounds like fun.
He giggled happily along with the others who dawdled at the happy child. Follow me, every pony. Yah! Shining nodded as he turned and trotted inside the castle. Cadence followed behind him with Toby on her back, along with the others. As soon as they entered through the palace doors, Toby looked up in awe at the high ceiling of the main hall and the beauty of all the crystal interior. He enjoyed riding on Cadence's back, admiring the beauty of the palace as they were trotting through. Shining Armor took the group through the entirety of the castle, till they were trotting down one of the many corridors and came across an open door. It revealed a room that held a unique-looking mirror. The frame around it was lavender, with deep magenta gems embedded all around it. Toby looked in the room curiously and gently asked,
Uncle Shining and Aunt Cadence? What is that room? He pointed with a finger.
Well, big guy, this room's a bit off limits, because of the mirror inside, but I don't see a problem in letting you see it. Come on, every pony, yah! He motioned for the others to follow with a hoof as they all entered. Cadence looked back at Toby.
You see, sweetheart, this mirror has magical abilities to be able to send us to another world, but it only has been used once.
Actually, twice. Sunset Shimmer and Twilight. She smiled awkwardly as she leaned down to let Toby climb off her back to go look at the mirror. In fact, Sunset left one time, then came back, then left with the crown, then Twilight left. It's about to be used a fourth time. Okay. Hold on here. She smiled awkwardly as she leaned down to let Toby climb off her back to go look at the mirror. Toby carefully walked towards the mirror curiously. He turned to look up at Cadence, Shining, and the others.
Oh, who was the first one to use it, Aunt?
Ah! He missed his step, tripping over the first step of the platform that the mirror was standing on. He landed hard on his knee.
Ow!
He let out a small cry. Fluttershy galloped up to him.
Oh, Toby, sweetie, are you okay?
She asked worriedly, and he slowly stood up, rubbing at his knee. She laid a wing over his back, rubbing it soothingly, and brought him in for a comforting hug.
He sniffled. I'm okay, Mama. It's just hurt a little bit, but I'm okay.
He looked up with a reassuring smile. Fluttershy gently pulled him back and gave him a gentle kiss on the forehead. She smiled warmly down at him, but gasped,
Toby! Your locket!
She pointed at the place on his royal blue jacket where his locket is. He looked down and his face became pale to see that it was gone.
My locket! It's gone!
He looked up at his mom and back at his family frantically.
Where is it?
He used his hands to feel in his pockets of his jogging pants, the pockets on the sides of his jacket, but he couldn't find it. He looked down, scanning the floor for it, but couldn't find it on the ground either. He looked on the platform to find it was there, but then looked at the mirror, which was rippling a little, and his face became paler.
Oh, no. Do you think it fell through the mirror, Mama?
He stood there, shaking with fear of losing his locket. He turned to look up at Fluttershy with tears in his eyes.
I've got to get it back, Mama! He cried out.
The others looked on concerned for the little boy. Fluttershy looked down at her son with a frown, and then looking up at the mirror, she shook her head.
Toby, sweetie, I can't let you go. It's too dangerous, and I don't want anything bad to happen to you. She's right, Toby, Twilight spoke up. I'm the one who used this mirror once. In the world I went to, well, it's too dangerous for one as young as you, sweetheart. But he knows what's inside. Well, he doesn't know, but when he gets there, he understands everything. He knows what technology is. He knows what hands are. He's had them this whole time. Toby lowered his head, shaking it vigorously, closing his small hands into a little fist.
Tears fell from his eyes, staining the crystal floor. He took in a deep, shuddering breath, letting it out heavily. He looked up at his mom with pleading eyes.
Please, Mama, you've got to let me go through that mirror. My locket's the only thing I have to remember my mommy by. Please, Mama, please let me go back and get it.
He cried louder, hugging one of Fluttershy's forelegs hard, burying his face in her chest. Fluttershy's heart broke at the sight of her son like this. She reached her free foreleg up to hug him close to her, stroking up and down his back. She let out a heavy sigh.
All right, Toby. You can go and get your locket back, but you've got to let one of us come with you.
Toby released the remainder of his tears into her soft, warm chest fur before lifting his head up to look at her. He sniffled, but had a look of determination on his face. He held his hug around her foreleg.
No, Mama. I want to do this on my own. I need to be brave and not be afraid anymore. Please, Mama, you've got to let me do this on my own. Please!
He looked up at her, begging. Fluttershy felt tears sting her eyes, but gave her a warm, sad smile. She reached up with her hoof to stroke his hair.
You're growing up so fast, Toby, and you're only 8 years old.
She let out a heavy sigh and nodded.
All right, sweetie, you can go alone. But promise me that you will be careful, and if you're in danger, just be brave for Mama, okay?
Toby looked up at her with a tearful smile of his own.
Yes, Mama, I promise I'll be careful and be brave for you.
He reached up to hug her tightly around her neck.
I love you, Mama. Thank you for letting me do this alone.
He turned his head to give her a soft kiss on the cheek. Fluttershy allowed her tears to flow freely, rubbing along his back and giving him a tender kiss in return for his cheek. They broke the hug.
Mama loves you too, Toby. You just be safe.
Cadence carefully trotted up to her nephew, looking down at him, gave him a warm smile.
Toby, listen to me, okay? He nodded. The portal only opens once every 30 moons, so you have only 30 days to retrieve your mommy's locket, or you'll be trapped in the other world. She gave him a sad smile. He swallowed deeply, but shook off his nervousness. I understand, Aunt Cadence. I promise I'll be back for 30 days.
She looked up at her, shining, and then at his family.
I love you all. I promise I'll be back.
He smiled warmly at them all, and carefully turned towards the mirror.
Be safe, little brother!
The Cutie Mark Crusaders said in unison.
Be safe, Toby! We love you!
The others spoke all together. Fluttershy let out a shuddering breath.
Be safe, my son. I love you.
Toby turned toward his mom.
I love you too, Mama.
He gave one last smile before stepping onto the platform. He reached out his hand, noticing it went through the mirror, and pulled it back. He looked back one more time at his family, who all gave him a reassuring nod. He turned back to the mirror, taking a deep breath, and took a big step into the mirror. He was suddenly sucked into the mirror. He let out a scream as he felt himself being turned around and around. His vision was filled with colorful spinning light, until suddenly the environment around him immediately turned black. His eyes were closed, and he was unconscious. That was chapter 1. Really good, but I'm gonna have to talk to Jason about a few things that I think could be done better. Again, I'm not a professional, damn it. I wouldn't even say I'm as good of a writer as Jason, truthfully, and I'm saying this honestly. But I have a brain, and I know how to have conversations with people, so I know how to negotiate, so just gonna talk about a few things. But this is the original reading. I decided to not read the revised because I wanted to read this right now. I missed Total Divas for this. Well, not altogether. I had 30 minutes left, but it's worth it. So thank you guys for watching, listening, and I'll see you tomorrow for 20 chapters of Know Your Bear at least, and the rest of A New Home 2. Goodbye.